Let's have an opening prayer and get at it. So let's humble ourselves for the word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this morning. We thank you for the gift of life. Thank you for our families and our businesses. Thank you for always blessing the works of our hands, O Lord. We thank you, bless you. We pray that as we discuss this morning, O Lord, speak through the presenter, use her as a vessel to speak to us, but above all, help us and guide us on how to implement for the benefit of ourselves, our communities, our country, and the world at large. Give us the courage, give us the strength, provision. We believe you, we trust you. For Jesus' name, we pray and believe. Amen.
Amen.
Great. So we are here. We are glad to have you all. Our time is a few minutes past 7. Without much ado, I'd like to invite our very own, the chief servant at Toddler's Gold that has branches. I've seen one in Tinda, I think, and there must be somewhere in Chiwatwe. She's a big person. She means a lot to us. She's been moving this journey for quite a while. If you have children, those nice toys, nice books, the ones that read, that make some nice noise and some nice music, go none anywhere than Toddler's Gold. So with me, welcome the chief servant, investor, Rosemary. Pleasure to have you, Rosemary. Over to you.
Wow, Investor John, and thank you so much. I will invite you to Toddler's Gold first, so that next time as you're cheering us on, you actually have come and taken away something great for my investor over there at your home. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing? I hope everybody is well. My name is Rosemary Tusabe, and as Investor Jonan has shared, I am the Chief Steward, the founder and CEO of Toddler's Gold Limited, which is in the childcare industry. At the moment, we deal with children's toys, pajamas, and baby essentials. So please follow us on our social media handles to get to know us a bit more. And today I'll be our presenter. I hope that we shall be able to live with one or two things that we have learned, and we're able to become better people. I prepared a presentation, but unfortunately my device has given way, but I will walk us through it, and I hope we'll be able to follow through. So today's presentation is called Building Your Business Arsenal. And here we're basically going to look at a biblical game plan to win in business. Okay, so I'd like to begin with 2 questions. One of them is, do you genuinely believe you're going to change the world through business? And I'm asking you as an entrepreneur,
Is
it me or has Rosemary ruptured?
Looks like there's
I think it's a pause for effect.
There was a rupture.
It's more one, eh?
Yes.
It's called a pause for effect, as Investor Solomon says.
That's a long
Let us reflect on the question. Eh? So that when she comes back, we have the answers.
She's back.
So here I am.
We have the answers, Rosemary. We have the answers.
Oh, wow, very good. So kindly type in the chat. I'm wondering, when you think of the army, what comes to your mind? The army. So it could be UPDF, it could be the US, forces. What comes to your mind? If I can just have a few words typed out in the chat. And while that happens, okay, so I see security, I see strength, I see, I'm waiting for maybe 2 others. I see unity, okay, great. I see peace, okay. So there's so many things that come, discipline, I like that. There's so many things that come to our mind when we think about the army. And today we're going to look at a very interesting story, and I'm going to quote a book that we all are very familiar with, and that's the Bible. And I hope we'll be able to learn a thing or two from the Bible and implement in our businesses. So about the army, when I thought through, I was thinking, what does competence of the army actually mean? If an army is competent, what does that mean? And these are the definitions that I came up with. The competence of an army is an army professional's demonstrated ability to successfully perform their duties and to accomplish the mission with discipline and to standard, okay? Another definition is an army professional's dedication and adherence to the army values and ethic as consistently and faithfully demonstrated in decisions and actions, okay? So now we're going to go on to look at a story in the Bible that I'd like us to relate with our businesses. And this particular story is about an army. And with the words that you've shared, you know, peace, unity, people, different things, I find there's a lot of similarity between the army and our businesses. And when I read this story, it just came alive. And I sort of felt that some of these characteristics that we're going to look at are characteristics that if we as business owners embrace, we'll be able to grow and become better and become game changers, become history makers, and become world changers. Okay, and of course the Bible is principle. There's nothing we can contest about what is written in the word. So we're going to look at a story about David in the Bible. David is a king who was anointed, of course, by God, and he became king after King Saul had died. And when we look at 1 Chronicles chapter 11, we find that in the 11th chapter, the leaders of Israel came and anointed him as king. But for today, we're going to look at 1 Chronicles chapter 12, verses 23 to 40. You can read that in your own personal time, but I'm going to single out some of the attributes that the army, the people that fought in the army actually had. And I believe that if we as business owners grab this by the mantle, learn a thing or two, we'll become more sound and grounded and resilient at business. So there are about 7 of them that you will find when you read the word, and I'll share my presentation after. So the first one is, these men were mighty men of valor, fit for war. Now, when I look at fit for war, what does that actually mean? It definitely means strength in body, in mind, and spirit. Some of the words that come to mind are courage, passion, preparedness for mission. And how prepared are you when you look at your business and the field in which you're operating? How prepared are you? How fit for war are you? Are you strong in body? So do you actually exercise regularly? Are you strong in mind? Do you read a lot of books and expose yourself to different things in your industry? Are you courageous? You know, recently I visited a friend of mine who has a wellness center, and this is in relation to fit for war. She has a wellness center, and one of the products she has is slimming teas, but she's plus size. And she said one of the questions she gets asked a lot is, so if you're selling slimming teas, do they actually work? And then she said, yeah, of course. So she has to explain herself to her clients and, you know, say it's more about habit. It's not that the teas don't work, but one of the things she's struggling with is habit. So if you're going to be fit for war, if you're going to sell slimming teas, people best believe that the slimming teas work, okay? So that's the first one. The second one is, these men had an understanding of the times to know what Israel ought to do. So you as a business leader, do you exercise wisdom in your business? Are you able to understand and discern the times? When COVID came, how did that affect your business? When, you know, now Ebola is here, how does that affect your business? When you think about, you know, price wars, or when you think about the dollar rate and basically Forex rates, how does that affect your business? If you're launching a new product and it affects parents, do you launch it in January when parents are thinking about school fees, or would you rather launch it at a different period where they're more relaxed and they have more resources available to spend, okay? And one of the things I've seen most recently is a lot of bakers around are posting, adverts and inviting P7 vacists to come for baking classes. So they have an understanding of the time. They know that P7 vacists are now at home. They probably do not have that much to do, and they would be happy to have an added skill. So now they are pushing that. So in your business, what understanding do you have of the times? The third one is an expert in war with all weapons of war. So an expert, when you think of expertise or being an expert, what comes to your mind? Personally, I think experience is the best teacher. Can you become a general in the army without actually going to the battlefield? I don't think so. I haven't heard of that yet. So it's good for you to constantly have experience and exposure such that you're able to become an expert and a go-to person in your field, okay? And here, when we look at some of the things we can consider, preparedness is key, and knowledge in the field or the sector in which you are playing. If you're able to know and to understand with precision what some of the key parameters and metrics are in your industry, then you will be able to become an expert at war. By the time you're going to war, you're going to nail the target. You're not aiming at, looking at a moving target, but you know with precision what you're going to do or what product you're going to offer, what your competitors are doing. You have all the knowledge and the information that you need to excel. And I believe that by the time an army goes to war, they go to win. They don't go to become second. They don't go to be killed, but they go to win the war. So that is the attitude that we need to have, okay? So if you need to take a short course, go ahead and take a short course. If you need to meet experts in your field, if you need to volunteer in another business, that is probably where you want to go, then you go ahead and do that, but become an expert in your field, such that you're a reference point and we know that we can count on you. The fourth one is stout-hearted men who could keep ranks, okay? So what does stout-hearted actually mean? It means things like, being brave, being a person of courage, being determined, people who could keep the rank, singleness of purpose, being stable, stability. When you're in an army, a lot comes at you. They have to probably be separated from their families. They stay up long nights. They could be attacked at any time, but then they have to build resilience. They have to keep up a spirited fight, because guess what? As the citizens, we're looking up to them as role models. Imagine if the UPDF came and said, we've seen an army coming and I don't know if we can actually take them down. How would we feel as the citizens? Because we have our confidence in them and we believe that indeed they're going to fight, and for us, ours is to sleep and have a peaceful night. But the army themselves have to keep a spirited fight regardless of what comes at them. So you as a business leader, there might be certain setbacks. You might face certain challenges along that journey, but keep up a spirited fight when you know that you're here to actually transform the world through business. When you have that at the back of your mind, you continue to press on, you continue to fight on, regardless of what comes at you. And then the next one is ability to keep battle formations. So what are formations? Many of us are familiar with sports. So maybe it could be soccer, it could be basketball, and there are different formations in sports. So with that in mind, basically, the army consists of seasoned troops ready for active service. So when you think about that, and you as a business leader, do you think you're a seasoned troop ready for active service? When you wake up in the morning, do you feel that you're going to actually go and win and change the world? Okay, so now as you plan, as you have a good strategy to actually win and not to become, the second best, but to win, you have to have that winning strategy and maintain that strategy. Of course, you need to look at things like technology and tactic. You need to consider both attack and defense, okay? And then the second last one will be armed with every kind of weapon. I also liked this one particularly. So what are the, what are some of the weapons that the army would have? Maybe guns, maybe grenades, bullets, knives, bombs, and all that stuff, so that they are not caught off guard at any one point, just in case what they anticipated the enemy to come at them with changes. In case the enemy changes tactic, are they prepared to put up a spirited fight? So you as a business leader, are you equipped to interpret financial data? Are you able to clearly articulate your company's vision? If investors walked into your door today, would you be able to articulately say, say that this is our company vision, this is where we're going to go. If you invested in our business, this is what it would look like, an ABCD? Or would you first go back and try to figure things out? So we need to be a people that are equipped with every kind of weapon of war. If we need to go back and build our arsenal in terms of having a class on communications, presentation, public speaking, then you go ahead and do that, such that you're able to communicate ably what you want to say. Or another thing I thought was, are you aware of your company policies? Do you have some degree of understanding of business law? Because if you're operating in the business arena, then you need to know a thing or two about the law, even if you're not a lawyer by profession. And then lastly, we'll look at each had a loyal heart to the mission. So now this involves your team as well. So yes, you want to change the world, but you're not going to do it alone. There are other people that are going to have to walk this journey with you, but are they aware of what the mission is? One of the ways your team can be on board with your mission is continuous training, just keep singing the song. This is where we are going. This is what your role is. Make them feel a part of the vision. Make them have buy-in. What is at stake, okay? How do you equip them? And the other day, Apostle taught and said, fatherhood, our businesses are actually churches. So do you father or mother the people at your organization? Do you have a genuine desire to make them better than you found them? So yeah, these are some of the characteristics that I picked out from that army, particularly the army, David's army at Hebron. And I thought that they really, really relate to us in today's world, but can also help us to become better at this thing called business. And maybe my parting shots would be to consider perspective, long-term perspective. The other day, somebody was telling me, you see, how did Capital Shoppers begin? Mr. Ngabirano did not begin with one huge outlet. He began apparently at a veranda and then a small lockup, and now look at where he is. So he had longevity in his perspective. He was able to look at where he is, where he was going to be in 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. He was here. He knew that he would be here for the long haul and to change a whole generation. So if that is the perspective that you carry, then you'll realize that one, where you are, accept where you are, and then ask yourself questions in relation to how you can actually get better. Yeah. So over to you, Investor Jonan. I hope this was helpful. In case there are any submissions, any additions, any subtractions, I welcome them.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, Investor Rosemary. The parting shot was indeed a parting shot. It was really a shot. Let's start where we're at and see how we can scale it up to the levels we intend to be at. But we have to have that vision, that level of, we have to be certain that we are heading somewhere, that we are at a level that we are at maybe temporarily, and then we're actually heading somewhere. Someone was saying that he has a general that he knows that has been a general without necessarily going to the battle. But I think that guy commanded at a distance. All right, so let's open it up for any questions. If you have a question, just raise up your hand and we shall be able to select on you. I personally have one question. I relate most because I've been asking myself a few guys that I may not have to mention now, even on this call. You look at someone, you're like, this guy is too consistent. This guy, it's as if he doesn't, get tired. He's up probably by 4 or 5 every day, and he pushes and all that. Looks like, he has somewhere where he picks a bit of energy and and it keeps rolling. So I think your presentation sheds the picture of what it is that we are meant to have to approach business. Not being resilient, not getting tired because we are just stewards. It's not about us. So I'd like to ask you, maybe you share a bit of experience, so anyone else who can actually supplement, what has kept you in business? Because business is an interesting game. Sometimes you wake up, you're like, what, this one, it's getting harder. So what keeps you moving? What keeps you rolling, even when things are not as planned or as expected, or when you feel you're pushing yourself grudgingly? How do you maneuver? How about you, and if there's any question? Yes, Chairman CD, shoot your question.
Thank you, Investor Jonan. Rosemary, mine was towards your last number 7, the 7th attribute of loyalty. Yes, there's loyalty in the army, but there's also fear. I don't know if I would confuse loyalty with fear, but it seems there's fear for the general. And how do we relate that to our business? Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you so much. I see Pastor Precious Barbara has asked that Director Grace takes on the first question. So Director, over to you on the first question. I'll also take a shot or a swing at the Bishop's Chairman CD's question, and then Director, you can come through. I think for me, it would be what Apostle Mose taught the other day. You see, when you realize that it's about fatherhood, I don't know how you grew up or what your relationship is with your father, but when it is about fatherhood, there will not be that much fear. You'll find that your father is actually trying to call out greatness in you, and your father loves you. He loves you regardless of what you have already done. So therefore, if as a business leader, you approach your business and your team from a place of fatherhood, genuine desire to help them get better, then I think it will really try to eliminate issues to deal with fear. You'll find that the loyalty is not coming from a point of fear because it's a heart issue, really. Loyalty is a heart issue. Someone might be obedient, but they're not willing. Isaiah 1:19. So you find that you're dealing with a heart issue. So as a business leader, it's important that you get buy-in from your team from a place of love and genuine desire to see them get better. And then you also recognize that without them, you'll not be able to achieve your goal or your vision, which is to change the world. You need people to come on board and buy in. So if you approach it from the general's perspective, maje, you need that maje for discipline, okay? You cannot compromise on issues to do with discipline, but then you receive them as a father would. That is what my take would be. So Director, over to you on the 2 questions.
Directors dropped off call since they had internet issues. So maybe you might have to stand in. So Director Rosemary.
I like it so much.
Over to you, Jonan.
Director Rosemary Tusabe.
I like it. But I would think that feelings, all of us have feelings, all of us feel discouraged. Okay, I don't know about you, but I have those days where I'm completely discouraged, where I don't want to get out of bed, where I'm thinking, what is this animal that I just got myself in? But then when you realize that there's so many other people, suppliers, it's a whole chain. There's suppliers who are depending on you, maybe in other countries. There is employees who expect to be paid at the end of the month. When you realize that it's not just about you, you sort of get up and realize that you have to go. It's like being a parent. When you become a parent, a biological parent, or even, I don't know, if you adopt a child or something, you'll find that your child will not wait for you or will not listen to excuses. And if you're telling the child, I'm sorry, we won't go to school this term because I did not, make the school fees or something like that, they will not really understand where you're coming from. They expect to go to school. That is their expectation. So in as much as we may have those days that are low, we need to ensure that we we rise above our feelings. Let's be people who have a plan and we go with the plan. I'm sure sometimes the soldiers in the army do not feel like it, but if that is the mission, if that's the single mission that they're going to achieve, you'll find that all of them will have to get on board and go and do that. And just remember, you're the general. If the general decides to sit back and cry, then what will the rest of the soldiers do? What will the army do? What will other people do? Yeah, so we just need to keep up a spirited fight. If you need to surround yourself with people who will challenge you, who will get you out of bed, who will move you, push you, do so. But you need to get up and go. And of course, develop healthy habits. You need to know, what time do I wake up? What time do I have in the ward? Because that is where your source of strength comes from and your strategy for your business. Or when do I interact with people? When do I do different things? Just have healthy habits around you that help you to get better and to encourage you even on those days when you're feeling low. Yeah.
Wow. This is a great wake-up call, by the way. Probably some people feel they're staff sergeants or they're corporals in their businesses. Now is the time to realize that you're general in your business. So you actually have to be resilient and keep moving. One last question is in the chat as we close this. Someone is asking, what are your social media handles? Director Rosemary.
Our social media handles at Toddlers Gold. I'll post that in the WhatsApp group shortly after this presentation, alongside the presentation, in case anybody needs to refer to it.
Investor Tida, I saw your hand beeping. My eye is too sharp. Did you want to greet us only or what?
Yeah, good morning. I wanted to throw in more light about the consistency, how people are consistent.
Yes.
A lot of time we look at consistency only on the angle of the work being done. But are you also consistent in your resting? Do you have a pattern for resting? At church, Monday is off. Monday is a resting day. In the normal working world, they say Sunday is a resting day, but you take off that day ready to rest because you have to have those short rests to be able to recharge. If you don't recharge, the body will tell you, will force you into a rest. So one thing I've learned is that I took off Saturday. Saturday is my day. So, and I make sure I rest on Saturday. I make sure I am not doing any work as far as work is concerned, and I'm engaging into something that totally is not related to my field of work that I do from 8 to 5 days a week. And also create monthly rests. Do you take off 2-3 days to rest during the month? Do you take off quarterly rest? The other time I was seeing Director Jerome in Zanzibar. He has been off for a week. So as we think of consistency, you also, I'm thinking you must have consistency in your rest. Create patterns that include you resting so that you can recharge and bounce back. Thank you.
Wow, Tony, that was a nice one. You see, you are stealing from us. You're denying us an opportunity to learn. This is very, very key.
Investor Donald.
Yes.
So his point, yes, I really agree. When you work from a point of rest, you'll find that you go faster and longer. You'll be able to do a marathon and not just a sprint. When you go to places like Dubai, you find that they close for 1 or 2 hours during lunchtime and everybody is expected to go and take a break. And then they come back and open their businesses. Or China, they have a 7-day holiday during October where they have to go home and be with their families, rest, and then come back. So I agree, working from a point of rest is such an incredible piece of wisdom. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Well said. We send you greetings, Professor Ivan Ayazika Jerome in Zanzibar. We send you greetings. I see Director, just greet us, just greet us. I've seen Director, greet us and we close this call. Oh, he's gone again.
He's not on.
Oh, okay, all right. So it's 7:31. Thank you so much, Investor Rosemary, for speaking to us. And I pray that we go and become resilient and make sure that we are generous indeed not think ourselves as corporals or staff sergeants in our businesses. We are the chief stewards. Let's go out and transform communities in the country and the world. May the Lord bless you all. May the Lord cover you with his blood. May the Lord protect you with your families. May the Lord bless the works of your hands. Go out there, do business, shalak, employ people, bless people, uplift people. But above all, know that you're the general chief steward of that business, and you're accountable for the people you're employing and the families that are feeding from your business. It's not about you alone. Have a great day. We love you all. See you tomorrow at the grill. Let all of us come back for the grill and know what we have done. Blessed day, guys. Cheers and bye-bye.